Hi, I'm Andrew Armstrong and welcome to the back office. Can you tell what it is yet? Yeah, you'll bet you can't because there's a lot of mess here. However, I will tell you, or you've read it in the description, I'm going to make a microphone out of this USB tube thing that we prepared the other day by dismantling a USB gadget. In fact, let me show you what I made. I ultimately did sort of tape that up and put a bit of heat shrink on here to make it kind of self-contained. So that's like a pen, battery, USB, whatever you call these things, power banks, but in a kind of slightly different configuration. Anyway, we'll throw that aside for now. That works, by the way, nicely charged up. So we've got the base here that screws on the end, you recall, and then we've got an opening here. Now my intention is, we've got this carrier that sort of should go up the back end. Yes, it does. All the way up to the top, hopefully. Yeah, see it there, right there? So my intention is quite simple, really. That's to drill a hole in the back of this, use some of this nice red flex that was part of a Pringles tube, a Pringles microphone or speaker. In fact, I know it's a speaker because there's the grill. Oh, genius. Wouldn't it be nice if we can chop a bit of grill? I might just chop a bit of red grill at the end, and this will be like one of those Rode mics that comes with a fancy red wire. And there's a sort of two microphones that will give us stereo. So I'm going to probably just crack on right away. First thing I'm going to do, if you're copying me, following along at home, which is quite a specific set of materials you're going to need, but it doesn't matter. If you're following along at home, you'll need some Araldite, because that's the first bit I'm going to use. I think Araldite's actually a brand name. I'm using Rapid Epoxy from Poundland. It works really well. Oh, sticky. Works really well. It's got like a very quick curing time. So I'm just going to find something to mix it on. We won't need too much, but always mix a bit more than you need, really. That should be about right. Bit of a splodge there. Put that away. Just going to grab me a tissue. Bit of tissue. Nice bit of tissue. Get too sticky. I'm going to mix that up, and if this soaks through my paper, that's going to give me a nice shiny patch of wood on the back office desk. So you probably can't quite see this given the lighting conditions, but it's just there. It's clear glue. You know how to mix up Araldite. Just notice I got Araldite on my camera lens. Not very pleased with that. Still, in the name of art, I'm just going to put a blob here and smoosh it out a bit. I'm not sure how much I need, not very much, I know that much, but lots of much in that sense. We've got our microphones here. You've got a red wire and a black wire. You can see the blob there. There's fortunately a nice sort of cutaway. I want to sort of get the wires down that cutaway, but I kind of need to sort of dogleg them around each other. So we've got one here. Yes, no. Try to figure out how to hold these in place once they're in. I'm just going to splodge them in, I think, and then worry about how we're going to hold them. Would be nice if they actually sat flat, but they're not really doing that. So I'm desperately looking around with my other hand for something to clamp these with. Perfect item here. Look, there's those things off there we go. So those are those things off basically, I can't remember what they were from, some clothes or something. I've done a video about them a while back. And I called them handy clamps or something. Well, they are handy. Look at that. See, they're sort of squeezing the two microphones down reasonably flat. The wire's coming out the end, and that should be fine. In fact, I've got a bit of extra Araldite though. I'm just going to put that in there, in that cavity, to hold the wires. That's going to be really, they're going to be locked in then. Locked in permanently. Try not to get it on the clamp though. That'll be immovable. In you go, feeding it. And if you're doing this at home, don't get it on the microphone element, or you will be very sorry about that. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. One more dollop. Got some on the clamp, but I think I'll be able to use my brutish strength to separate those. And I'm just going to clear it from the edge of the tube because we know that's going to sit inside the bigger tube. There. I'm just going to put that aside for now. Now I do apologise in advance if I sound quite incoherent. I have to admit I'm pretty tired today. But I don't know if you've ever felt stir crazy where you just got to do something and I was like, I've just got to go and make a video because it's kind of my hobby after all. Don't do it for any other reason. And tiredness plus making videos can often lead to incoherency. Just looking, I kind of think a lot of this glue has migrated onto this clamp now, so I'm kind of worried that I won't be able to get them apart. So just wanted to check that. Yeah, pretty sure I won't be able to get this apart in the end. But screw it, let's just let them go. 5 minutes, we'll know. Next stage is the wire. So for the wire, you can see it's this thin red wire, fortunately nice and thin. So I've got a drill bit here, just going to drill into the end. This drill bit smells very, this drill itself actually smells very brushy. You know, the brushes are about to melt. This is anodized, so this could be very painful if it slips, or when it slips. Fortunately it's not particularly hard anodized though. Thank you, China. Thank you, China, indeed. Need a bit of wood though. Really don't want to make too much of a mess if I puncture through that. And we're through. So I don't think though this is going to be quite big enough for our wire, but I'll just do a test. You never know. You get lucky sometimes. Oh, it is. So there you have it. Look, that's the wire just going straight through. That's almost perfect, actually. Who'd have thunk it? You don't need the drill anymore. So with the pinouts of this, that will be the ground will be here, and then I think you normally get left and right or right and left. We don't really care, but we do know there's a bias here, so the ground is going to be negative and the other ones are going to be positive. If you noticed, our microphones had red and black wires, but we'll be having a look at those closer soon. But let's just buzz these out. We need to know what the polarities of these. There's 3 wires. How nice. And it's that horrible cloth stuff. We can prepare though all of this while we're waiting for that araldite to dry, which is really cool. That is some fine stuff. So I'm going to try to zoom in a bit and show you, but it's almost like hair. So you've got a red one, a copper one, and a blue one. And that's fortunate because we're pretty darn sure that the copper one is just going to be the ground. So I'm just going to heat those up. And while I'm doing that, I'm just going to consider how we're going to terminate these. So we're going to have 2 going to the copper, and we're going to have 1 going to each of the others. I think we'll just get some heat shrink out in advance. And I'm going to choose today the oft unused yellow heat shrink. Certainly seem to have quite a lot of the old yellow heat shrink collecting in the pot. Again, hands slightly sticky now, getting stickier. Let's check that araldite. Yeah, it's 100% on that clamp now. That's going to be interesting. But I think the clamp has a rubbery finish, so hopefully it won't stick to rubber. But yeah, that says it all. That says it all. I've really got to settle down and tidy this old work area. If you're watching at home and you do these projects, I would quite like, if you can spare the time, just momentarily send me a tweet with your work area, because I'm just sort of fascinated to see how other people work. I like to think that I'm quite tidy, but then every now and then it just gets chaotic where you've got projects that are half finished and you just don't really know what to do with them. You're basically stockpiling projects on your desk, and it's so tricky to sort of decide how to deal with that. Unless you have so much room, I guess, that you can just put everything in a box and just shove it on a shelf somewhere, you're always going to have this problem. Right, I'm applying solder here, and you can't quite probably see what I'm doing. It's going to be awkward to try to even show you, but I'm just sort of holding the soldering iron on these threads, really, and the idea is to sort of try to burn off the varnish. So I'm holding the soldering iron on. There is an insulation as well, and then there's varnished cable, so I'm just holding it on, and you'll see the varnish basically bubble. If you're lucky, you'll see the varnish bubble when you're doing it at home, and eventually it will tin. It does take its time. Persevere with it, and it'll just sort of foam up, tin, and you'll go great. You'll just get it just right, but it does take a while. So I'm just going to try to test now, using the meter, some continuity from the end of the jack to those, because if we can't get that, then we're stuffed basically. So this is the one I thought was ground, and it is ground. That's the one that's probably left, and this is the tip. Come on. Yeah, good. All good in the hood. So sad I didn't choose to glue this earlier. See, it's starting to get tacky. Just going to rearrange this though, see if there's a way I can grab the wires, because if I can get at the wires, we can just continue the job. So we've got our red wire and our black. So you can see where I'm going with this. It's a pretty simple build all in all. But something I would quite like to get hold of though that I don't have handy is a bit of foam at the moment, because all these microphones need a bit of foam. Oh, that was a good one. You can see I've gone deadly quiet now. I don't know where my pliers are gone, so I'm just stripping with the side cutters. And here we go. Phew. If one of those goes too short, you're stuffed because you want them all the same length. Good. So the two blacks are going to join together, and then the two reds are going to be separate. I'm going to cut me some heat shrink now. 3 should do. By my reckoning, 3 pieces, more than enough. Just going to slide that on now. You won't get the opportunity to put them on later. The two black ones should be together. Come on. So it would be interesting to know if I can put a hot shoe mount on this mic, and then that would make it super groovy. Put it on my camera, and then everybody would think I can afford things. Yeah, there we go. One more, almost there. And this is when I realise that the Araldite has run down the microphone now, just gone in the holes in the ends, the little holes, the bits you definitely do not want to fill with glue. So I'm just going to do a mechanical join now on these wires. Just going to twist them up like that. That is tricky. I think I ought to solder those ones while I'm there. So I know I'm sort of they're not in line, if you see what I mean. They're all attached in a certain way, but this wire is so thin it will be able to bend round, and I'll get the heat shrink on it, I'm sure. So I'm not too worried about the heat shrink fitting over it right now. Ooh, you can see from the size of my fingers in the camera that how fiddly this is. I might even need tweezers to wrap them. I do need tweezers to wrap them. So if you're making these, I think you'll get some satisfaction out of it, because you can get these microphone elements off eBay and the various places. Now there's a company called Knowles, K-N-O-W, I want to say, L-E-S. They make mics and they sell them in places like Farnell and RS, and they make microphones for hearing aids. They are quite expensive for an element. It might be like a £5 or something rather than, pennies, but they're very good. So you can actually, those would be absolutely amazing. You know, like in the best microphones you could buy will have those. So if you can use those elements, you can basically build yourself a equivalent of a microphone that might cost you hundreds of pounds. If you can do all the metalwork and case and stuff like that yourself for like a tenner or something. So it really is worth doing. It's all a bit smoke and mirrors, a lot of this audio stuff. If it's good, it's good, but if it's crap, it's crap. You know, you don't have to go much more than that. So just fiddling with this now. Let's see if we can get it in that hole. Yeah, look at that. 2 more to go. These should be easier. Yes. Ah, I was overthinking that really. Just needed to pull it up. Look, there's all 3 now. All over. Let's hit that with a bit of heat shrink. Nicely done. So electrically that should be all we need, assuming I've done that right. Before I fetch that away though, let's give it just give it a little twist of insulation tape, not too much but just enough to keep all of that together. I might back it over onto itself, and I like that. So the strain relief is actually on the wires, not on the join. Should be good. So we'll just take a measurement now. So when we poke this up the tube, we're going to want a bit of tolerance on there. So we need to put some strain relief on here, and I'm just going to see if I've got a suitable cable tie. I have a highly unsuitable cable tie because it's massive, but I'm going to see if I can crank it down enough. Let me just do a last check on that. We definitely don't want to leave that too short. So that's where we want to go with it. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. I think it's not going to work. Oh no, it's going to work. Just check that one last time. Probably left it a bit too generous really, if anything. It's fine. One more click, go on. Yeah, that's really good. I don't think that's getting pulled out in a hurry. So let's inspect our gluing. Hopefully it's not all terrible. Yeah, well, it is definitely stuck to our clamp. But let's see if I can just prise that off. I shall need for this a blade. Get it in there. There we go, that came out. Yeah. One of the mics does look a little bit a little bit blocked up. I think we'll clean that off right now. So I don't know if you've ever looked inside these mics, but there's a little hole. So there's a bit of paper here. You can see the sort of membrane on top, and then that's the mic in there. So it just covers it over. That should be okay. Just got to get though inside this one. It looks shiny, so it looks like that material has got araldite all over it. So I'm just gonna scrape it off. It's still kind of soft. It's a bit like glue gun glue at the moment, so it's still a bit workable. I think that's okay. Probably do more damage just trying to rub it with this, but yeah, it's fine. Might just get this last little bit of detritus off as I'm here. Yeah, you can see it's really pliable. Again, just like glue gun glue right now. But that's it. I think that's okay. That's not going anywhere. So next thing is just to shove it up the old tube. Yes, pun away if you want to. Does make some sense there. Real quick, just real quick while I'm here. Look, I can just tape that there all around there, and that's just going to give it again that extra level of strain relief, and it'll stop those wires flopping around. So you might get a weird sound effect. You know, if those wires do move in the tube, I'm sure they won't. You know, you could put a bit of gentle foam in there or something, but if they did move in the tube, you might just hear them slapping around. So they're just tied up a bit more. They're not going anywhere. Let's get it down the tube hole. Here it comes. Bang! Really professional looking. So centered. Just screw that up. Pull our little wire. Tug it, give it a tug. Yeah. Yeah, baby. Look at that. That is pretty damn good. I like that. I like that a lot. In fact, I think you could put a bit of weight in here if you wanted it to be a bit heavier, because it's a bit light. But yeah, you could put a lump of lead in there, fishing weight. So I think the next stage is for me to figure out how to cut this thing off. So let's pop that out. It's a bit big at present. I think I'm just going to try to draw around it and then just sort of trim it with a Dremel. But let me go and scratch my head and we'll jump cut and come back to that. I think I've got enough material to have a couple of goes on this. So the first test is basically tin snips, and this wouldn't be my advised way of doing it. Found some better side cutters that can actually cut. They were fine. I say side cutters, aviation shears, not side cutters. And I've cut out a bigger, better one, and it's probably, let's just check. Is it a little bit too proud in places? Yeah. Okay, let me just give it a tiniest trim. It won't take long. And you see, that's the problem. If you're cutting it, you kind of want to get it cut first time, because when you go back to try to do these little bits, it's just a fiddly pain. And I'm not even. Yeah, I'm not going to bother. I'm not sure it's worthwhile. Let's just try to finish that last bit I was on. There we go. Let's stop that. So what I'm going to do is hold that over there, basically like thus. So you can see this is my new microphone, and I think it's pretty slick looking. It certainly displays all the properties you'd want on a microphone. It's got a red wire and a red grill. That in my book means it's okay. It also rather conveniently means you can fit accessories made for other things, whereas this will be a little bit big because it's a big one. But yeah, look at that. That looks dead proper, that doesn't it? Excuse me, sir, can you please comment on the political events of the day? Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Hello. So yeah, it's pretty good. I resin that in nicely. Look at that. That's just looking darn fine. And I don't really quite know what it sounds like because I don't have my headphones on, and I should have. I think I've actually isolated the source of the hum in the back office, by the way. It is the power supply supplying the Rushes monitor, because this red wire acted as an antenna. It's really picking it up coming from the camera, so I'm going to have to sort that out. But that's good. At least we've got rid of that hum. So hopefully in the future now my videos should be much clearer. So there you have it. You can make your own microphone for pennies. So I don't know how it actually sounds in terms of the full range of, soundality, if you can use it for audio or just, this kind of thing. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Yes, I think this benefits from a shield. Maybe it's just good enough. That's all it has to be. If you've got any comments down below on making your own microphone or this build, any suggestions, I'm willing to hear them. Let me know. If you'd like to buy me a coffee, please consider donating $1 a month. Or more if you like, but $1 a month, that's nothing to me. And then if a few of you do that, I'll be able to go to Starbucks at least one day in that week and buy myself a coffee. Or if I'm lucky and I get a little bit more Patreons, I can go to Costa Coffee. As ever, Thanks for watching, guys. Okay, one final update. Look, put a magnet on it so I could stick it on there. Point it wherever I need. That works pretty well. Also, I can add more magnet bases elsewhere, so I can just do that. Or just talk to it by hand. Groovy.